2 Chronicles, chapter 31. Now when all this was finished, all Israel who were present went out to the cities of Judah and broke the pillars in pieces, cut down the Asherah poles, and broke down the high places and the altars out of all Judah and Benjamin, also in Ephraim and Manasseh, until they had destroyed them all. Then all the children of Israel returned, every man to his possession, and to their own cities. Hezekiah appointed the divisions of the priests and the Levites after their divisions, every man according to his service, both the priests and the Levites, for burnt offerings and for peace offerings, to minister, to give thanks, and to praise in the gates of Yahweh's camp. He also appointed the king's portion of his possessions for the burnt offerings, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths, for the new moons, and for the set feasts, as it is written in Yahweh's law. Moreover, he commanded the people who lived in Jerusalem to give the portion of the priests and the Levites, that they might give themselves to Yahweh's law. As soon as the commandment went out, the children of Israel gave in abundance the first fruits of grain, new wine, oil, honey, and of all the increase of the field, and they brought in the tithe of all things abundantly. The children of Israel and Judah, who lived in the cities of Judah, also brought in the tithe of cattle and sheep, and the tithe of dedicated things which were consecrated to Yahweh their God, and laid them in heaps. In the 3rd month they began to lay the foundation of the heaps, and finished them in the 7th month. When Hezekiah and the princes came and saw the heaps, they blessed Yahweh and his people Israel. Then Hezekiah questioned the priests and the Levites about the heaps. Azariah the chief priest of the house of Zadok answered him and said, Since people began to bring the offerings into Yahweh's house, we have eaten and had enough, and have plenty left over, for Yahweh has blessed his people, and that which is left is this great store. Then Hezekiah commanded them to prepare rooms in Yahweh's house, and they prepared them. They brought in the offerings, the tithes, and the dedicated things faithfully. Kenani the Levite was ruler over them, and Shimei his brother was second. Jehiel, Azaziah, Nahath, the Sahel, Jerimoth, Jozabad, Eliel, Ismashah, Mahath, and Benaiah were overseers under the hand of Kenani and Shimei his brother, by the appointment of Hezekiah the king and Azariah the ruler of God's house. Kor the son of Imnah the Levite, the gatekeeper at the east gate, was over the freewill offerings of God, to distribute Yahweh's offerings and the most holy things. Under him were Eden, Miniamin, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah, and the cities of the priests, and their office of trust, to give to their brothers by divisions, to the great as well as to the small, in addition to those who were listed by genealogy of males, from 3 years old and upward, even everyone who entered into Yahweh's house, as the duty of every day required, for their service in their offices according to their divisions, and those who were listed by genealogy of the priests by their fathers' houses, and the Levites from 20 years old and upward, and their offices by their divisions, and those who were listed by genealogy of all their little ones, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, through all the congregation, for in their office of trust they sanctified themselves in holiness. Also for the sons of Aaron the priests, who were in the fields of the pasture lands of their cities, in every city there were men who were mentioned by name to give portions to all the males among the priests, and to all who were listed by genealogy among the Levites. Hezekiah did so throughout all Judah, and he did that which was good, right, and faithful before Yahweh his God. In every work that he began in the service of God's house, in the law and in the commandments, to seek his God, he did it with all his heart and prospered. 2 Chronicles, chapter 32. After these things and this faithfulness, Sennacherib king of Assyria came, entered into Judah, and camped against the fortified cities, and intended to win them for himself. When Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib had come, and that he was planning to fight against Jerusalem, he took counsel with his princes and his mighty men to stop the waters of the springs which were outside of the city, and they helped him. And many people gathered together, and they stopped all the springs in the brook that flowed through the middle of the land, saying, Why should the kings of Assyria come and find abundant water? He took courage, built up all the wall that was broken down, and raised it up to the towers, with the other wall outside, and strengthened Millo and David's city, and made weapons and shields in abundance. He set captains of war over the people, gathered them together to him in the wide place at the gate of the city, and spoke encouragingly to them, saying, Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or dismayed because of the king of Assyria, nor for all the multitude who is with him, for there is a greater one with us than with him. An arm of flesh is with him, but Yahweh our God is with us to help us and to fight our battles. The people rested themselves on the words of Hezekiah king of Judah. After this, Sennacherib king of Assyria sent his servants to Jerusalem, to Hezekiah king of Judah, and to all Judah who were at Jerusalem, saying, Sennacherib king of Assyria says, In whom do you trust, that you remain under siege in Jerusalem? Doesn't Hezekiah persuade you to give you over to die by famine and by thirst, saying, Yahweh our God will deliver us out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Hasn't the same Hezekiah taken away his high places and his altars, and commanded Judah and Jerusalem, saying, You shall worship before one altar, and you shall burn incense on it? Don't you know what I and my fathers have done to all the peoples of the lands? Were the gods of the nations of those lands in any way able to deliver their land out of my hand? who was there among all the gods of those nations which my fathers utterly destroyed, that could deliver his people out of my hand, that your God should be able to deliver you out of my hand? Now therefore don't let Hezekiah deceive you nor persuade you in this way. Don't believe him, for no God of any nation or kingdom was able to deliver his people out of my hand and out of the hand of my fathers. How much less will your God deliver you out of my hand? His servants spoke yet more against Yahweh God and against his servant Hezekiah. He also wrote letters insulting Yahweh, the God of Israel, and speaking against him, saying, As the gods of the nations of the lands, which have not delivered their people out of my hand, so shall the God of Hezekiah not deliver his people out of my hand. He called out with a loud voice in the Jews' language to the people of Jerusalem who were on the wall, to frighten them and to trouble them, that they might take the city. He spoke of the God of Jerusalem as of the gods of the peoples of the earth, which are the work of men's hands. Hezekiah the king and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, prayed because of this, and cried to heaven. Yahweh sent an angel, who cut off all the mighty men of valor, the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. So he returned with shame of face to his own land. When he had come into the house of his God, those who came out of his own body killed him there with the sword. Thus Yahweh saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib the king of Assyria and from the hand of all others, and guided them on every side. And he brought gifts to Yahweh to Jerusalem, and precious things to Hezekiah king of Judah, so that he was exalted in the sight of all nations from then on. In those days Hezekiah was terminally ill, and he prayed to Yahweh, and he spoke to him, and gave him a sign, that Hezekiah didn't reciprocate appropriate to the benefit done for him, because his heart was lifted up. Therefore there was wrath on him, Judah and Jerusalem. However, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that Yahweh's wrath didn't come on them in the days of Hezekiah. Hezekiah had exceedingly great riches and honor. He provided himself with treasuries for silver, for gold, for precious stones, for spices, for shields, and for all kinds of valuable vessels. Also storehouses for the increase of grain, new wine, and oil, and stalls for all kinds of animals, and flocks and folds. Moreover, he provided for himself cities, and possessions of flocks and herds in abundance, for God had given him abundant possessions. This same Hezekiah also stopped the upper spring of the waters of Jihan, and brought them straight down on the west side of David's city. Hezekiah prospered in all his works. However, concerning the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, who sent to him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land, God left him to test him, that he might know all that was in his heart. Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and his good deeds, behold, they are written in the vision of Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the ascent to the tombs of the sons of David. All Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem honored him at his death. Manasseh his son reigned in his place. 2 Chronicles chapter 33. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. He did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, after the abominations of the nations whom Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. For he built again the high places which Hezekiah his father had broken down, and he raised up altars for the Baals, made Asheroth, and worshipped all the army of the sky, and served them. He built altars in Yahweh's house, of which Yahweh said, My name shall be in Jerusalem forever. He built altars for all the army of the sky in the two courts of Yahweh's house. He also made his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. He practiced sorcery, divination, and witchcraft, and dealt with those who had familiar spirits and with wizards. He did much evil in Yahweh's sight, to provoke him to anger. He set the engraved image of the idol which he had made in God's house, of which God said to David and to Solomon his son, In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. I will not any more remove the foot of Israel from off the land which I have appointed for your fathers, if only they will observe to do all that I have commanded them, even all the law, the statutes, and the ordinances given by Moses. Manasseh seduced Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that they did more evil than did the nations whom Yahweh destroyed before the children of Israel. Yahweh spoke to Manasseh and to his people, but they didn't listen. Therefore Yahweh brought on them the captains of the army of the king of Assyria, who took Manasseh in chains, bound him with fetters, and carried him to Babylon. When he was in distress, he begged Yahweh his God, and humbled himself greatly before the God of his fathers. He prayed to him, and he was entreated by him, and heard his supplication, and brought him again to Jerusalem and to his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that Yahweh was God. Now after this, he built an outer wall to David's city on the west side of Jihan, in the valley, even to the entrance at the fish gate. He encircled Ophel with it, and raised it up to a very great height, and he put valiant captains in all the fortified cities of Judah. He took away the foreign gods and the idol out of Yahweh's house, and all the altars that he had built in the mountain of Yahweh's house and in Jerusalem, and cast them out of the city. He built up Yahweh's altar, and offered sacrifices of peace offerings and of thanksgiving on it, and commanded Judah to serve Yahweh, the God of Israel. Nevertheless, the people still sacrificed in the high places, but only to Yahweh their God. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and his prayer to his God, and the words of the seers who spoke to him in the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel, behold, they are written among the acts of the kings of Israel. His prayer also, and how God listened to his request, and all his sin and his trespass, and the places in which he built high places and set up the Asherah poles and the engraved images before he humbled himself. Behold, they are written in the history of Hazai. So Manasseh slept with his fathers, and they buried him in his own house, and Amon his son reigned in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. He did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, as did Manasseh his father, and Amon sacrificed to all the engraved images which Manasseh his father had made, and served them. He didn't humble himself before Yahweh, as Manasseh his father had humbled himself. But this same Amon trespassed more and more. His servants conspired against him, and put him to death in his own house. But the people of the land killed all those who had conspired against King Amon, and the people of the land made Josiah his son king in his place. Chapter 34. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. He did that which was right in Yahweh's eyes, and walked in the ways of David his father, and didn't turn away to the right hand or to the left. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the God of David his father. And in the 12th year he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places, the Asherah poles, the engraved images, and the molten images. He broke down the altars of the Baals in his presence, and he cut down the incense altars that were on high above them. He broke the Asherah poles, the engraved images, and the molten images in pieces, made dust of them, and scattered it on the graves of those who had sacrificed to them. He burned the bones of the priests on their altars, and purged Judah and Jerusalem. He did this in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, and Simon, even to Naphtali, around in their ruins. He broke down the altars, beat the Asherah poles and the engraved images into powder, and cut down all the incense altars throughout all the land of Israel, then returned to Jerusalem. Now in the 18th year of his reign, when he had purged the land and the house, he sent Shaphan the son of Azaliah, Maaseiah the governor of the city, and Joel the son of Joahaz the recorder to repair the house of Yahweh his God. They came to Hilkiah the high priest and delivered the money that was brought into God's house, which the Levites, the keepers of the threshold, had gathered from the hands of Manasseh, Ephraim, of all the remnant of Israel, of all Judah and Benjamin, and of the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They delivered it into the hands of the workmen who had the oversight of Yahweh's house, and the workmen who labored in Yahweh's house gave it to mend and repair the house. He gave it to the carpenters and to the builders to buy cut stone and timber for couplings, and to make beams for the houses which the kings of Judah had destroyed. The men did the work faithfully. Their overseers were Jahath and Obadiah the Levites, of the sons of Merari, and Zechariah and Meshullam, of the sons of the Kohathites, to give direction, and others of the Levites, who were all skillful with musical instruments. Also they were over the bearers of burdens, and directed all who did the work in every kind of service. Of the Levites there were scribes, officials, and gatekeepers. When they brought out the money that was brought into Yahweh's house, Hilkiah the priest found the book of Yahweh's law given by Moses. Hilkiah answered Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in Yahweh's house. So Hilkiah delivered the book to Shaphan. Shaphan carried the book to the king, and moreover brought back word to the king, saying, All that was committed to your servants they are doing. They have emptied out the money that was found in Yahweh's house, and have delivered it into the hand of the overseers and into the hand of the workmen. Shaphan the scribe told the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest has delivered me a book. Shaphan read from it to the king. When the king had heard the words of the law, he tore his clothes. The king commanded Hilkiah, Ahikam the son of Shaphan, Abdon the son of Micah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah the king's servant, saying, Go inquire of Yahweh for me, and for those who are left in Israel and in Judah, concerning the words of the book that is found. For great is Yahweh's wrath that is poured out on us, because our fathers have not kept Yahweh's word, to do according to all that is written in this book. So Hilkiah and those whom the king had commanded went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum the son of Takhath, the son of Hasra, keeper of the wardrobe, and they spoke to her to that effect. She said to them, Yahweh, the God of Israel says, Tell the man who sent you to me. Yahweh says, Behold, I will bring evil on this place and on its inhabitants, even all the curses that are written in the book which they have read before the king of Judah, because they have forsaken me and have burned incense to other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath is poured out on this place, and it will not be quenched. But to the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of Yahweh, you shall tell him this, Yahweh, the God of Israel says, about the words which you have heard. because your heart was tender, and you humbled yourself before God when you heard his words against this place and against its inhabitants, and have humbled yourself before me, and have torn your clothes and wept before me, I also have heard you, says Yahweh. Behold, I will gather you to your fathers, and you will be gathered to your grave in peace. Your eyes won't see all the evil that I will bring on this place and on its inhabitants. They brought back this message to the king. Then the king sent and gathered together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. The king went up to Yahweh's house with all the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests, the Levites, and all the people, both great and small, and he read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant that was found in Yahweh's house. The king stood in his place and made a covenant before Yahweh to walk after Yahweh, and to keep his commandments, his testimonies, and his statutes with all his heart and with all his soul, to perform the words of the covenant that were written in this book. He caused all who were found in Jerusalem and Benjamin to stand. The inhabitants of Jerusalem did according to the covenant of God, the God of their fathers. Josiah took away all the abominations out of all the countries that belonged to the children of Israel, and made all who were found in Israel to serve, even to serve Yahweh their God. All his days they didn't depart from following Yahweh, the God of their fathers. Chapter 35. Josiah kept the Passover to Yahweh in Jerusalem. He killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. He set the priests in their offices and encouraged them in the service of Yahweh's house. He said to the Levites who taught all Israel, who were holy to Yahweh, put the holy ark in the house which Solomon the son of David king of Israel built. It will no longer be a burden on your shoulders. Now serve Yahweh your God and his people Israel. Prepare yourselves after your fathers' houses by your divisions, according to the writing of David king of Israel, and according to the writing of Solomon his son. Stand in the holy place according to the divisions of the fathers' houses of your brothers, the children of the people, and let there be for each a portion of a father's house of the Levites. Kill the Passover lamb, sanctify yourselves, and prepare for your brothers, to do according to Yahweh's word by Moses. Josiah gave to the children of the people of the flock, lambs, and young goats, all of them for the Passover offerings, to all who were present, to the number of 30,000, and 3,000 bulls. These were of the king's substance. His princes gave a freewill offering to the people, to the priests, and to the Levites. Hilkiah, Zechariah, and Jehiel, the rulers of God's house, gave to the priests for the Passover offerings 2,600 small livestock and 300 head of cattle. Chenaniah also, and Shemaiah and Nethanel, his brothers, and Hashabiah, Jael, and Jozabad, the chiefs of the Levites, gave to the Levites for the Passover offerings 5,000 small livestock and 500 head of cattle. So the service was prepared, and the priests stood in their place, and the Levites by their divisions, according to the king's commandment. They killed the Passover lambs, and the priests sprinkled the blood which they received from their hands, and the Levites skinned them. He removed the burnt offerings, that they might give them according to the divisions of the fathers' houses of the children of the people, to offer to Yahweh, as it is written in the book of Moses. They did the same with the cattle. He roasted the Passover with fire according to the ordinance. He boiled the holy offerings in pots and cauldrons and in pans, and carried them quickly to all the children of the people. Afterward they prepared for themselves and for the priests, because the priests the sons of Aaron were busy with offering the burnt offerings and the fat until night. Therefore the Levites prepared for themselves and for the priests the sons of Aaron. The singers, the sons of Asaph, were in their place, according to the commandment of David, Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun the king's seer, and the gatekeepers were at every gate. They didn't need to depart from their service, because their brothers the Levites prepared for them. So all the service of Yahweh was prepared the same day, to keep the Passover, and to offer burnt offerings on Yahweh's altar, according to the commandment of King Josiah. The children of Israel who were present kept the Passover at that time, and the feast of unleavened bread 7 days. There was no Passover like that kept in Israel from the days of Samuel the prophet, nor did any of the kings of Israel keep such a Passover as Josiah kept, with the priests, the Levites, and all Judah and Israel who were present, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. This Passover was kept in the 18th year of the reign of Josiah. After all this, when Josiah had prepared the temple, Necho king of Egypt went up to fight against Carchemish by the Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. That he sent ambassadors to him, saying, What have I to do with you, you king of Judah? I come not against you today, but against the house with which I have war. God has commanded me to make haste. Beware that it is God who is with me, that he not destroy you. Nevertheless Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself, that he might fight with him, and didn't listen to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. The archers shot at King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, Take me away, because I am seriously wounded. So his servants took him out of the chariot, and put him in the second chariot that he had, and brought him to Jerusalem. And he died, and was buried in the tombs of his fathers. All Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. Jeremiah lamented for Josiah, and all the singing men and singing women spoke of Josiah in their lamentations to this day. and they made them an ordinance in Israel. Behold, they are written in the Lamentations. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and his good deeds, according to that which is written in Yahweh's law, and his acts, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. Chapter 36. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's place in Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. The king of Egypt removed him from office at Jerusalem, and fined the land 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. The king of Egypt made Elachim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. Necho took Joahaz his brother, and carried him to Egypt. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. He did that which was evil in Yahweh his God's sight. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came up against him, and bound him in fetters to carry him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried some of the vessels of Yahweh's house to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim, and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiachin his son reigned in his place. Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. He did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight. At the return of the year, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon, with the valuable vessels of Yahweh's house, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. He did that which was evil in Yahweh his God's sight. He didn't humble himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from Yahweh's mouth. He also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck, and hardened his heart against turning to Yahweh, the God of Israel. Moreover, all the chiefs of the priests and the people trespassed very greatly after all the abominations of the nations, and they polluted Yahweh's house which he had made holy in Jerusalem. Yahweh, the God of their fathers, sent to them by his messengers, rising up early and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, despised his words, and scoffed at his prophets, until Yahweh's wrath arose against his people, until there was no remedy. Therefore he brought on them the king of the Chaldeans, who killed their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion on young man or virgin, old man or infirm. He gave them all into his hand, all the vessels of God's house, great and small, and the treasures of Yahweh's house, and the treasures of the king and of his princes. All these he brought to Babylon. He burned God's house, broke down the wall of Jerusalem, burned all its palaces with fire, and destroyed all of its valuable vessels. He carried those who had escaped from the sword away to Babylon, and they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia, to fulfill Yahweh's word by Jeremiah's mouth, until the land had enjoyed its Sabbaths. As long as it lay desolate, it kept Sabbath to fulfill 70 years. Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that Yahweh's word by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, Yahweh stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Cyrus king of Persia says, Yahweh, the God of heaven, has given all the kingdoms of the earth to me, and he has commanded me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever there is among you of all his people, Yahweh his God be with him, and let him go up. The book of Ezra, chapter 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that Yahweh's word by Jeremiah's mouth might be accomplished, Yahweh stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Cyrus king of Persia says, Yahweh, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has commanded me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever there is among you of all his people, may his God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of Yahweh, the God of Israel, which is in Jerusalem. Whoever is left in any place where he lives, let the men of his place help him with silver, with gold, with goods, and with animals, in addition to the freewill offering for God's house which is in Jerusalem. Then the heads of fathers' households of Judah and Benjamin, the priests and the Levites, all whose spirit God had stirred to go up, rose up to build Yahweh's house which is in Jerusalem. All those who were around them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with gold, with goods, with animals, and with precious things, in addition to all that was willingly offered. Also Cyrus the king brought out the vessels of Yahweh's house, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought out of Jerusalem, and had put in the house of his gods. Even those Cyrus king of Persia brought out by the hand of Mithridath the treasurer, and counted them out to Sheshbazzar the prince of Judah. This is the number of them: 30 platters of gold, 1,000 platters of silver, 29 knives, 30 bowls of gold, 410 silver bowls of the second kind, and 1,000 other vessels. All the vessels of gold and of silver were 5,400. Sheshbazzar brought all these up when the captives were brought up from Babylon to Jerusalem. Ezra chapter 2. Now these are the children of the province who went up out of the captivity of those who have been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away to Babylon, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, everyone to his city, who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Reliah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigvai, Rehum, and Baanah, the number of the men of the people of Israel, the children of Parash, 2,172. The children of Shaphatia, 372. The children of Er, 775. The children of Pahath Moab, of the children of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812. The children of Elam, 1,254. The children of Zadu, 945. The children of Zakkai, 760. The children of Bani, 642. The children of Babai, 623. The children of Azgad, 1,222. The children of Adonikam, 666. The children of Bigvai, 2,056. The children of Adin, 454. The children of Ader of Hezekiah, 98. The children of Bezai, 323. The children of Jor, 112. The children of Hashem, 223. The children of Gibar, 95. The children of Bethlehem, 123. The men of Netapha, 56. The men of Anathoth, 128. The children of Azmaveth, 42. The children of Kiriath Aram, Chephar, and Beeroth, 743. The children of Ramah and Jebah, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 223. The children of Nebo, 52. The children of Magbish, 156. The children of the other Elam, 1,254. The children of Haram, 320. The children of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 725. The children of Jericho, 345. The children of Senah, 3,630. The priests, the children of Jediah, of the house of Jeshua, 973. The children of Immer, 1,052. The children of Pashur, 1,247. The children of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, the children of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the children of Hodaviah, 74. The singers, the children of Asaph, 128. The children of the gatekeepers, the children of Shalom, the children of Ader, the children of Talmon, the children of Akab, the children of Hatita, the children of Shobai, and all 139. The temple servants, the children of Ziha, the children of Hasapha, the children of Tabeath, the children of Kiros, the children of Saiha, the children of Padan, the children of Lebanah, the children of Hagabah, the children of Akab, the children of Hagab, the children of Shamlai, the children of Hanan, the children of Giddel, the children of Gahar, the children of Reiah, the children of Rezin, the children of Nekoda, the children of Gazam, the children of Uzzah, the children of Pesah, the children of Besai, the children of Asna, the children of Munim, the children of Nephisim, the children of Bakbuk, the children of Hakapha, the children of Harher, the children of Basluth, the children of Mehida, the children of Harsha, the children of Barkos, the children of Sisera, the children of Tema, the children of Neziah, the children of Hadapha, the children of Solomon's servants, the children of Sadai, the children of Hasaphereth, the children of Peruda, the children of Jala, the children of Darkan, the children of Giddel, the children of Shaphatia, the children of Hadal, the children of Patrath Hazabaim, the children of Ami, all the temple servants, and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. These were those who went up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not show their fathers' houses and their offspring, whether they were of Israel. The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 652. Of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Hakaz, and the children of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called after their name. These sought their place among those who were registered by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore they were deemed disqualified and removed from the priesthood. The governor told them that they should not eat of the most holy things until a priest stood up to serve with Urim and with Thummim. The whole assembly together was 42,360, in addition to their male servants and their female servants, of whom there were 7,337, and they had 200 singing men and singing women. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, their donkeys 6,720. Some of the heads of fathers' households, when they came to Yahweh's house which is in Jerusalem, offered willingly for God's house to set it up in its place. They gave according to their ability into the treasury of the work 61,000 derricks of gold, 5,000 minas of silver, and 100 priests' garments. So the priests and the Levites, with some of the people, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple servants, lived in their cities, and all Israel in their cities. Ezra chapter 3. When the 7th month had come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Then Jeshua the son of Jozadak stood up with his brothers the priests and Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and his relatives, and built the altar of the God of Israel to offer burnt offerings on it, as it is written in the law of Moses the man of God. In spite of their fear because of the peoples of the surrounding lands, they set the altar on its base, and they offered burnt offerings on it to Yahweh, even burnt offerings morning and evening. They kept the Feast of Booths, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the ordinance, as the duty of every day required, and afterward the continual burnt offering, the offerings of the new moons, of all the set feasts of Yahweh that were consecrated, and of everyone who willingly offered a freewill offering to Yahweh. From the first day of the 7th month they began to offer burnt offerings to Yahweh, but the foundation of Yahweh's temple was not yet laid. They also gave money to the masons and to the carpenters. They also gave food, drink, and oil to the people of Sidon and Tyre to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea, to Joppa, according to the grant that they had from Cyrus king of Persia. Now in the 2nd year of their coming to God's house at Jerusalem, in the 2nd month, Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, Jeshua the son of Jozadak, and the rest of their brothers the priests and the Levites, and all those who had come out of the captivity to Jerusalem, began the work and appointed the Levites, from 20 years old and upward, to have the oversight of the work of Yahweh's house. Then Jeshua stood with his sons and his brothers, Kadmiel and his sons, the sons of Judah, together to have the oversight of the workmen in God's house, the sons of Henadad, with their sons and their brothers the Levites. When the builders laid the foundation of Yahweh's temple, they set the priests in their vestments with trumpets, with the Levites the sons of Asaph with cymbals, to praise Yahweh, according to the directions of David king of Israel. They sang to one another in praising and giving thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his loving kindness endures forever toward Israel. All the people shouted with a great shout when they praised Yahweh, because the foundation of Yahweh's house had been laid. That many of the priests and Levites and heads of fathers' households, the old men who had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice. Many also shouted aloud for joy, so that the people could not discern the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard far away. Ezra chapter 4. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity were building a temple to Yahweh, the God of Israel, they came near to Zerubbabel and to the heads of fathers' households, and said to them, Let us build with you, for we seek your God as you do, and we have been sacrificing to him since the days of Esarhaddon king of Assyria, who brought us up here. That Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the rest of the heads of fathers' households of Israel said to them, You have nothing to do with us in building a house to our God, but we ourselves together will build to Yahweh, the God of Israel, as King Cyrus the king of Persia has commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah, and troubled them in building. They hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius king of Persia. In the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, they wrote an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. In the days of Artaxerxes, Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the rest of his companions wrote to Artaxerxes king of Persia, and the writing of the letter was written in Syrian and delivered in the Syrian language. Rehum the chancellor and Shimshai the scribe wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes the king as follows. Then Rehum the chancellor, Shimshai the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Dinites and the Apharsachites, the Tarpelites, the Apharsites, the Archevites, the Babylonians, the Shushanchites, the Dehates, the Elamites, and the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Oshapar brought over and settled in the city of Samaria, and in the rest of the country beyond the river, and so forth, wrote, This is the copy of the letter that they sent to King Artaxerxes from your servants, the people beyond the river. Be it known to the king that the Jews who came up from you have come to us to Jerusalem. They are building the rebellious and bad city, and have finished the walls and repaired the foundations. Be it known now to the king that if this city is built and the walls finished, they will not pay tribute, custom, or toll, and in the end it will be hurtful to the kings. Now because we eat the salt of the palace, and it is not appropriate for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore we have sent and informed the king, that search may be made in the book of the records of your fathers. You will see in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city, and hurtful to kings and provinces, and that they have started rebellions within it in the past. That is why this city was destroyed. We informed the king that if this city is built and the walls finished, then you will have no possession beyond the river. Then the king sent an answer to Rehum the chancellor, and to Shimshai the scribe, and to the rest of their companions who live in Samaria, and in the rest of the country beyond the river, peace. The letter which you sent to us has been plainly read before me. I decreed, and search has been made, and it was found that this city has made insurrection against kings in the past, and that rebellion and revolts have been made in it. There have also been mighty kings over Jerusalem who have ruled over all the country beyond the river, and tribute, custom, and toll was paid to them. Make a decree now to cause these men to cease, and that this city not be built until a decree is made by me. Be careful that you not be slack doing so. Why should damage grow to the heart of the kings? And when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Raham, Shimshai the scribe, and their companions, they went in haste to Jerusalem to the Jews, and made them to cease by force of arms. And work stopped on God's house which is at Jerusalem. It stopped until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius king of Persia. Chapter 5. Now the prophets, Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem. They prophesied to them in the name of the God of Israel. Then Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Jeshua the son of Jozadak rose up and began to build God's house which is at Jerusalem, and with them were the prophets of God, helping them. At the same time Tattenai, the governor beyond the river, came to them with Shethar-boznai and their companions, and asked them, Who gave you a decree to build this house and to finish this wall? They also asked for the names of the men who were making this building. But the eye of their God was on the elders of the Jews, and they didn't make them cease until the matter should come to Darius, and an answer should be returned by letter concerning it. The copy of the letter that Tattenai, the governor beyond the river, and Shethar-boznai, and his companions, the Apharsachites who were beyond the river, sent to Darius the king follows. They sent a letter to him, in which was written, To Darius the king, all peace. Be it known to the king that we went into the province of Judah, to the house of the great God, which is being built with great stones, and timber is laid in the walls. This work goes on with diligence and prospers in their hands. Then we asked those elders, and said to them thus, Who gave you a decree to build this house, and to finish this wall? We asked them their names also, to inform you that we might write the names of the men who were at their head. Thus they returned us answer, saying, We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth, and are building the house that was built these many years ago, which a great king of Israel built and finished, that after our fathers had provoked the God of heaven to wrath, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this house and carried the people away into Babylon. But in the 1st year of Cyrus king of Babylon, Cyrus the king made a decree to build this house of God. The gold and silver vessels of God's house, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem and brought into the temple of Babylon, those Cyrus the king also took out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered to one whose name was Sheshbazzar, whom he had made governor. He said to him, Take these vessels, go, put them in the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let God's house be built in its place. Then the same Sheshbazzar came and laid the foundations of God's house which is in Jerusalem. Since that time even until now it has been being built, and yet it is not completed. Now therefore, if it seems good to the king, let a search be made in the king's treasure house, which is there at Babylon, whether it is so that a decree was made by Cyrus the king to build this house of God at Jerusalem, and let the king send his pleasure to us concerning this matter. Chapter 6. Then Darius the king made a decree, and the house of the archives, where the treasures were laid up in Babylon, was searched. A scroll was found at Echmeta, in the palace that is in the province of Media, and in it this was written for a record. In the 1st year of Cyrus the king made a decree concerning God's house at Jerusalem. Let the house be built, the place where they offer sacrifices, and let its foundations be strongly laid, with its height 60 cubits and its width 60 cubits, with 3 courses of great stones and a course of new timber. Let the expenses be given out of the king's house. Also let the gold and silver vessels of God's house, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple which is at Jerusalem and brought to Babylon, be restored and brought again to the temple which is at Jerusalem, everything to its place. You shall put them in God's house. Now therefore, Tattenai, governor beyond the river, Shethar-boznai, and your companions the Apharsachites, who are beyond the river, you must stay far from there. Leave the work of this house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build this house of God in its place. Moreover, I make a decree regarding what you shall do for these elders of the Jews for the building of this house of God. That of the king's goods, even of the tribute beyond the river, expenses must be given with all diligence to these men, that they not be hindered, that which they have need of, including young bulls, rams, and lambs, for burnt offerings to the God of heaven, also wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the word of the priests who are at Jerusalem. Let it be given them day by day without fail, that they may offer sacrifices of pleasant aroma to the God of heaven, and pray for the life of the king and of his sons. I have also made a decree that whoever alters this message, let a beam be pulled out from his house, and let him be lifted up and fastened on it, and let his house be made a dunghill for this. May the God who has caused his name to dwell there overthrow all kings and peoples who stretch out their hand to alter this, to destroy this house of God which is at Jerusalem. I, Darius, have made a decree. Let it be done with all diligence. Then Tatanai, the governor beyond the river, Shethar-boznai, and their companions did accordingly with all diligence. Because Darius the king had sent the decree, the elders of the Jews built and prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. They built and finished it according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the decree of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes king of Persia. This house was finished on the 3rd day of the month Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. The children of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity, kept the dedication of this house of God with joy. They offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel 12 male goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. They set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courses for the service of God which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. The children of the captivity kept the Passover on the 14th day of the 1st month. Because the priests and the Levites had purified themselves together, all of them were pure. They killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, for their brothers the priests, and for themselves. The children of Israel who had returned out of the captivity, and all who had separated themselves to them from the filthiness of the nations of the land to seek Yahweh, the God of Israel, ate and kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, because Yahweh had made them joyful, and had turned the heart of the king of Assyria to them, to strengthen their hands in the work of God, the God of Israel's house. Chapter 7. Now after these things, in the reign of Artaxerxes king of Persia, Ezra the son of Sariah, the son of Azariah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Shallum, the son of Zadok, the son of Ahitub, the son of Amariah, the son of Azariah, the son of Mariot, the son of Zerahiah, the son of Uzi, the son of Buki, the son of Abishua, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the chief priest. This Ezra went up from Babylon. He was a skilled scribe in the law of Moses, which Yahweh, the God of Israel, had given, and the king granted him all his requests, according to Yahweh his God's hand on him. Some of the children of Israel, including some of the priests, the Levites, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple servants went up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of Artaxerxes the king. They came to Jerusalem in the 5th month, which was in the 7th year of the king. For on the 1st day of the 1st month he began to go up from Babylon, and on the 1st day of the 5th month he came to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his God on him. For Ezra had set his heart to seek Yahweh's law, and to do it, and to teach statutes and ordinances in Israel. Now this is the copy of the letter that King Artaxerxes gave to Ezra the priest, the scribe, even the scribe of the words of Yahweh's commandments, and of his statutes to Israel. Artaxerxes, king of kings, to Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of the perfect God of heaven. Now I make a decree that all those of the people of Israel and their priests and the Levites in my realm, who intend of their own free will to go to Jerusalem, go with you, because you are sent by the king and his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of your God which is in your hand, and to carry the silver and gold, which the king and his counselors have freely offered to the God of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem, and all the silver and gold that you will find in all the province of Babylon, with the freewill offering of the people and of the priests, offering willingly for the house of their God which is in Jerusalem. Therefore you shall with all diligence buy with this money bulls, rams, and lambs with their meal offerings and their drink offerings, and shall offer them on the altar of the house of your God which is in Jerusalem. Whatever seems good to you and to your brothers to do with the rest of the silver and the gold, do that according to the will of your God. The vessels that are given to you for the service of the house of your God, deliver before the God of Jerusalem. Whatever more will be needed for the house of your God, which you may have occasion to give it out of the king's treasure house. I, even I, Artaxerxes the king, make a decree to all the treasurers who are beyond the river, that whatever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of the God of heaven, requires of you, it shall be done with all diligence, up to 100 talents of silver, and to 100 cores of wheat, and to 100 baths of wine, and to 100 baths of oil, and salt without prescribing how much. Whatever is commanded by the God of heaven, let it be done exactly for the house of the God of heaven. For why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons? Also we inform you that it shall not be lawful to impose tribute, custom, or toll on any of the priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, temple servants, or laborers of this house of God. You, Ezra, according to the wisdom of your God that is in your hand, appoint magistrates and judges who may judge all the people who are beyond the river, who all know the laws of your God, and teach him who doesn't know them. Whoever will not do the law of your God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed on him with all diligence, whether it is to death, or the banishment, or the confiscation of goods, or to imprisonment. Blessed be Yahweh, the God of our fathers, who has put such a thing as this in the king's heart, to beautify Yahweh's house which is in Jerusalem, and has extended loving kindness to me before the king and his counselors, and before all the king's mighty princes. I was strengthened according to Yahweh my God's hand on me. And I gathered together chief men out of Israel to go up with me. Ezra chapter 8. Now these are the heads of their fathers' households, and this is the genealogy of those who went up with me from Babylon. In the reign of Artaxerxes the king, of the sons of Phinehas, Gershom; of the sons of Ithamar, Daniel; of the sons of David, Haddash; of the sons of Shechaniah; of the sons of Parash, Zechariah; and with him were listed by genealogy of the males 150. Of the sons of Pahath Moab, Elihonai the son of Zerahiah, and with him 200 males. Of the sons of Shechaniah, the son of Jahaziel, and with him 300 males. Of the sons of Adin, and the son of Jonathan, and with him 50 males. Of the sons of Elam, Jeshaiah the son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. Of the sons of Shephatiah, Zebediah the son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the sons of Joab, Obadiah the son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. Of the sons of Shelomith, the son of Josaphiah, and with him 160 males. Of the sons of Bebai, Zechariah the son of Bebai, and with him 28 males. Of the sons of Azgad, Johanan the son of Hakkatan, and with him 110 males. Of the sons of Adonikam, who were the last, their names are Eliphalet, Jewel, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. Of the sons of Bigvai, Adai and Zabud, and with them 70 males. I gathered them together to the river that runs to Ahava, and there we encamped 3 days. Then I looked around at the people and the priests, and found there were none of the sons of Levi. Then I sent for Eliezer, for Ariel, for Shemaiah, for Elnathan, for Jarib, for Elnathan, for Nathan, for Zechariah, and for Meshullam, chief men, also for Joarib and for Elnathan, who were teachers. I sent them out to Iddo the chief at the place Casiphia, and I told them what they should tell Iddo and his brothers, the temple servants at the place Casiphia, that they should bring to us ministers for the house of our God. According to the good hand of our God on us, they brought us a man of discretion of the sons of Mali, the son of Levi, the son of Israel, namely Sherebiah, with his sons and his brothers, 18, and Hashabiah, and with him Jeshaiah of the sons of Merari, his brothers and their sons, 20, and of the temple servants, whom David and the princes had given for the service of the Levites, 220 temple servants. All of them were mentioned by name. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river Ahava, that we might humble ourselves before our God, to seek from him a straight way for us, for our little ones, and for all our possessions. For I was ashamed to ask of the king a band of soldiers and horsemen to help us against the enemy on the way, because we had spoken to the king, saying, The hand of our God is on all those who seek him for good, but his power and his wrath is against all those who forsake him. So we fasted and begged our God for this, and he granted our request. Then I set apart 12 of the chiefs of the priests, even Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers with them, and weighed to them the silver, the gold, and the vessels, even the offering for the house of our God, which the king, his counselors, his princes, and all Israel their present had offered. I weighed into their hands 650 talents of silver, 100 talents of silver vessels, 100 talents of gold, 20 bowls of gold weighing 1,000 darics, and 2 vessels of fine bright bronze, precious as gold. I said to them, You are holy to Yahweh, and the vessels are holy. The silver and the gold are a freewill offering to Yahweh, the God of your fathers. Watch and keep them until you weigh them before the chiefs of the priests, the Levites, and the princes of the fathers' households of Israel at Jerusalem, in the rooms of Yahweh's house. So the priests and the Levites received the weight of the silver, the gold, and the vessels, to bring them to Jerusalem to the house of our God. Then we departed from the river Ahava on the 12th day of the first month to go to Jerusalem. The hand of our God was on us, and he delivered us from the hand of the enemy and the bandits by the way. We came to Jerusalem and stayed there 3 days. On the 4th day the silver and the gold and the vessels were weighed in the house of our God into the hand of Merimoth the son of Uriah the priest, and with him was Eleazar the son of Phinehas, and with them were Jozabad the son of Jeshua, and Nodiah the son of Binnui, the Levites. Everything was counted and weighed, and all the weight was written at that time. The children of the captivity, who had come out of exile, offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel, 12 bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 male goats for a sin offering. All this was a burnt offering to Yahweh. They delivered the king's commissions to the king's local governors and to the governors beyond the river. So they supported the people in God's house. Chapter 9. Now when these things were done, the princes came near to me, saying, The people of Israel, the priests, and the Levites have not separated themselves from the peoples of the land, following their abominations, even those of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy offspring have mixed themselves with the peoples of the lands. Yes, the hand of the princes and rulers has been chief in this trespass. When I heard this thing, I tore my garment and my robe, and pulled the hair out of my head and of my beard, and sat down confounded. Then everyone who trembled at the words of the God of Israel were assembled to me because of the trespass of the exiles. And I sat confounded until the evening offering. At the evening offering I rose up from my humiliation, even with my garment and my robe torn, and I fell on my knees, and spread out my hands to Yahweh my God. And I said, My God, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face to you, my God, for our iniquities have increased over our head, and our guiltiness has grown up to the heavens. Since the days of our fathers we have been exceedingly guilty to this day. And for our iniquities we, our kings, and our priests have been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, to plunder, and to confusion of face, as it is this day. Now for a little moment grace has been shown from Yahweh our God, to leave us a remnant to escape, and to give us a stake in his holy place, that our God may lighten our eyes, and revive us a little in our bondage. For we are bondservants, yet our God has not forsaken us in our bondage, but has extended loving kindness to us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to revive us, to set up the house of our God, and to repair its ruins, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem. Now, our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken your commandments, which you have commanded by your servants the prophets, saying, The land to which you go to possess is an unclean land through the uncleanness of the peoples of the land, through their abominations, which have filled it from one end to another with their filthiness. Now therefore don't give your daughters to their sons. Don't take their daughters to your sons, nor seek their peace or their prosperity forever, that you may be strong and eat the good of the land, and leave it for an inheritance to your children forever. After all that has come on us for our evil deeds and for our great guilt, since you, our God, have punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and have given us such a remnant, shall we again break your commandments, and join ourselves with the peoples that do these abominations? Wouldn't you be angry with us until you had consumed us, so that there would be no remnant, nor any to escape? Yahweh, the God of Israel, you are righteous, for we are left a remnant that has escaped, as it is today. Behold, we are before you in our guiltiness, for no one can stand before you because of this. Chapter 10. Now while Ezra prayed and made confession, weeping and casting himself down before God's house, there was gathered together to him out of Israel a very great assembly of men and women and children, for the people wept very bitterly. Shechaniah the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered Ezra, We have trespassed against our God, and have married foreign women of the peoples of the land. Yet now there is hope for Israel concerning this thing. Now therefore let's make a covenant with our God to put away all the wives and those who are born of them, according to the counsel of my Lord and of those who tremble at the commandment of our God. Let it be done according to the law. Arise, for the matter belongs to you, and we are with you. Be courageous and do it. Then Ezra arose and made the chiefs of the priests, the Levites, and all Israel to swear that they would do according to this word. So they swore. Then Ezra rose up from before God's house, and went into the room of Jehohanan the son of Eliashib. When he came there, he didn't eat bread or drank water, for he mourned because of the trespass of the exiles. He made a proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem to all the children of the captivity, that they should gather themselves together to Jerusalem, and that whoever didn't come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the princes and the elders, all his possessions should be forfeited. And he himself separated from the assembly of the captivity. And all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered themselves together to Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 9th month, on the 20th day of the month, and all the people sat in the wide place in front of God's house, trembling because of this matter, and because of the great rain. Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, You have trespassed, and have married foreign women, increasing the guilt of Israel. Now therefore make confession to Yahweh, the God of your fathers, and do his pleasure. Separate yourselves from the peoples of the land and from the foreign women. Then all the assembly answered with a loud voice, We must do as you have said concerning us. But the people are many, and it is a time of much rain, and we are not able to stand outside. This is not a work of 1 day or 2, for we have greatly transgressed in this matter. Now let our princes be appointed for all the assembly, and let all those who are in our cities who have married foreign women come at appointed times, and with them the elders of every city and its judges, until the fierce wrath of our God is turned from us, until this matter is resolved. Only Jonathan the son of Asahel and Jozer the son of Tikva stood up against this, and Meshullam and Shabbatai the Levite helped them. The children of the captivity did so. Ezra the priest, with certain heads of fathers' households, after their fathers' houses, and all of them by their names, were set apart, and they sat down in the 1st day of the 10th month to examine the matter. They finished with all the men who had married foreign women by the 1st day of the 1st month. Among the sons of the priests there were found who had married foreign women of the sons of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brothers, Maaseiah, Eliezer, Jared, and Jedielai. They gave their hand that they would put away their wives, and being guilty, they offered a ram of the flock for their guilt. Of the sons of Immer, Hanani and Zebediah. Of the sons of Harim, Maaseiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel, and Azai. Of the sons of Pashur, Elionai, Maaseiah, Ishmael, Nethanel, Jozabad, and Elasim. Of the Levites, Jozabad, Shimei, Kaliah, Pethahiah, Judah, and Eliezer. Of the singers, Eliashib. Of the gatekeepers, Shallum, Telem, and Uri. Of Israel, of the sons of Parosh, Ramiah, Desaiah, Malchijah, Mijamin, Eleazar, Malchijah, and Benaiah. Of the sons of Elam, Athaniah, Zechariah, Jehiel, Abdi, Jeremoth, and Elijah. Of the sons of Sadu, Elionai, Eliashib, Mattaniah, Jeremoth, Zabad, and Azazel. Of the sons of Bebai, Jehohanan, Hananiah, Zabbai, and Athlai. Of the sons of Bani, Meshullam, Malach, Adiah, Jashub, Sheel, and Jeremoth. Of the sons of Pahath Moab, Adnah, Chelul, Benaiah, Maaseiah, Athaniah, Bezalel, Binui, and Manasseh. Of the sons of Harim, Eliezer, Ishijah, Malchijah, Shemaiah, Shimon, Benjamin, Malach, and Shemariah. Of the sons of Hashem, Madani, Madada, Zabad, Eliphalet, Jeremiah, Manasseh, and Shimei. Of the sons of Bani, Madai, Amram, Uel, Benaiah, Pedaiah, Chaluhi, Phaniah, Merimoth, Eliashib, Athaniah, Madani, Josu, Bani, Binui, Shimei, Shelemiah, Nathan, Adiah, Majnibai, Shashai, Sharai, Hazel, Shelemiah, Shemariah, Shalom, Amariah, and Joseph. Of the sons of Nebo, Jael, Mattathiah, Zabad, Sabina, Ido, Joel, and Benai. All these had taken foreign wives. Some of them had wives by whom they had children. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 1. The words of Nehemiah the son of Hakaliah. Now in the month Kislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Susa the palace, Hanani, one of my brothers, came, he and certain men out of Judah, and I asked them about the Jews who had escaped, who were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. He said to me, the remnant who are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and its gates are burned with fire. When I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned several days, and I fasted and prayed before the God of heaven, and said, I beg you, Yahweh, the God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps covenant and loving kindness with those who love him and keep his commandments. Let your ear now be attentive and your eyes open, that you may listen to the prayer of your servant which I pray before you at this time, day and night, for the children of Israel your servants, while I confess the sins of the children of Israel which we have sinned against you. Yes, I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against you, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the ordinances, which you commanded your servant Moses. Remember, I beg you, the word that you commanded your servant Moses, saying, if you trespass, I will scatter you among the peoples. That if you return to me, and keep my commandments, and do them, though your outcasts were in the uttermost part of the heavens, yet I will gather them from there, and will bring them to the place that I have chosen, to cause my name to dwell there. Now these are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed by your great power and by your strong hand. Lord, I beg you, let your ear be attentive now to the prayer of your servant, and to the prayer of your servants who delight to fear your name. And please prosper your servant today, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. Now I was cupbearer to the king. Nehemiah, chapter 2. In the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, when wine was before him, I picked up the wine, and gave it to the king. Now I had not been sad before in his presence. The king said to me, why is your face sad, since you are not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very much afraid. I said to the king, let the king live forever. Why shouldn't my face be sad when the city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste, and its gates have been consumed with fire? Then the king said to me, what is your request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, I ask that you would send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may build it. The king said to me, how long will your journey be? When will you return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set a time for him. Moreover, I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah, and a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel by the temple, for the wall of the city, and for the house that I will occupy. The king granted my requests, because of the good hand of my God on me. Then I came to the governors beyond the river, and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite servant heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly, because a man had come to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem, and was there 3 days. I arose in the night, I and a few men with me. I didn't tell anyone what my God put into my heart to do for Jerusalem. There wasn't any animal with me except the animal that I rode on. I went out by night by the valley gate toward the Jackal's Well, then to the Dung Gate, and I inspected the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down, and its gates were consumed with fire. Then I went on to the spring gate and to the king's pool, but there was no place for the animal that was under me to pass. Then I went up in the night by the brook and inspected the wall, and I turned back and entered by the valley gate, and so returned. The rulers didn't know where I went or what I did. I had not as yet told it to the Jews, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest who did the work. Then I said to them, "You see the bad situation that we are in, how Jerusalem lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire. Come, let's build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we won't be disgraced." I told them about the hand of my God which was good on me, and also about the king's words that he had spoken to me. They said, "Let's rise up and build." So they strengthened their hands for the good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the Ammonite servant, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they ridiculed us and despised us, and said, "What is this thing that you are doing? Will you rebel against the king?" Then I answered them and said to them, "The God of heaven will prosper us. Therefore we, his servants, will arise and build, but you have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem." Nehemiah chapter 3. Then Eliashib the high priest rose up with his brothers the priests, and they built the sheep gate. They sanctified it and set up its doors. They sanctified it even to the tower of Hami, to the tower of Hanino. Next to him the men of Jericho built. Next to them Zachar the son of Imri built. The sons of Hasanah built the fish gate. They laid its beams and set up its doors, its bolts, and its bars. Next to them Meremoth the son of Uriah, the son of Hakaz, made repairs. Next to them Meshullam the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabel, made repairs. Next to them Zadok the son of Bana made repairs. Next to them the Tekoites made repairs, but their nobles didn't put their necks to the Lord's work. Joiada the son of Pesa and Meshullam the son of Besodiah repaired the old gate. They laid its beams and set up its doors, its bolts, and its bars. Next to them, Melishah the Jibonite and Jadon the Meronothite, the men of Jibon and of Mizpah, repaired the residence of the governor beyond the river. Next to him, Azil the son of Harhiah, goldsmiths, made repairs. Next to him, Hananiah, one of the perfumers, made repairs, and they fortified Jerusalem even to the wide wall. Next to them, Raphiah the son of Hur, the ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs. Next to them, Jediah the son of Harumaph made repairs across from his house. Next to him, Haddish the son of Hashabneh made repairs. Nachijah the son of Harim and Hashab the son of Pahath-Moab repaired another portion in the tower of the furnaces. Next to him, Shallum the son of Halohesh, the ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, he and his daughters made repairs. Hanan and the inhabitants of Sano repaired the valley gate. They built it and set up its doors, its bolts, and its bars, and 1,000 cubits of the wall to the Dun gate. Nachijah the son of Rechab, the ruler of the district of Beth Hakram, repaired the Dun gate. He built it and set up its doors, its bolts, and its bars. Shallum the son of Kolhoseh, the ruler of the district of Mizpah, repaired the spring gate. He built it, covered it, and set up its doors, its bolts, and its bars, and he repaired the wall of the pool of Shelah by the king's garden, even to the stairs that go down from David's city. After him, Nehemiah the son of Azbuk, the ruler of half the district of Bethsur, made repairs to the place opposite the tombs of David, and to the pool that was made, and to the house of the mighty men. After him, the Levites, Rehum the son of Bani, made repairs. Next to him, Hashabiah, the ruler of half the district of Keilah, made repairs for his district. After him, their brothers, Avi the son of Henadad, the ruler of half the district of Keilah, made repairs. Next to him, Ezra the son of Jeshua, the ruler of Mizpah, repaired another portion across from the ascent to the armory at the turning of the wall. After him, Baruch the son of Zabbai earnestly repaired another portion, from the turning of the wall to the door of the house of Eliashib the high priest. After him, Meremoth the son of Uriah the son of Hakaz repaired another portion, from the door of the house of Eliashib even to the end of the house of Eliashib. After him, the priests, the men of the surrounding area, made repairs. After them, Benjamin and Hashab made repairs across from their house. After them, Azariah the son of Mosiah the son of Ananiah made repairs beside his own house. After him, Binui the son of Henadad repaired another portion, from the house of Azariah to the turning of the wall, and to the corner. Halel the son of Uzai made repairs opposite the turning of the wall, and the tower that stands out from the upper house of the king, which is by the court of the guard. After him, Pedaiah the son of Parosh made repairs. After him, the Tekoites repaired another portion opposite the great tower that stands out, and to the wall of Ophel. Above the horse gate, the priests made repairs, everyone across from his own house. After them, Zadok the son of Immer made repairs across from his own house. After him, Shemaiah the son of Shechaniah, the keeper of the east gate, made repairs. After him, Hananiah the son of Shelemiah and Hanan, the sixth son of Zalaph, repaired another portion. After him, Meshullam the son of Berechiah made repairs across from his room. After him, Malchijah, one of the goldsmiths to the house of the temple servants and of the merchants, made repairs opposite the gate of Hamathgad and to the ascent of the corner. Between the ascent of the corner and the sheep gate, the goldsmiths and the merchants made repairs. Chapter 4. But when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall, he was angry and was very indignant and mocked the Jews. He spoke before his brothers and the army of Samaria and said, What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they finish in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of rubbish, since they are burned? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, What they are building, if a fox climbed up it, he would break down their stone wall. Hear our God, for we are despised. Turn back their reproach on their own head. Give them up for a plunder in a land of captivity. Don't cover their iniquity. Don't let their sin be blotted out from before you, for they have insulted the builders. So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabians, the Ammonites, and the Ashdodites heard that the repairing of the walls of Jerusalem went forward, and that the breaches began to be filled, they were very angry, and they all conspired together to come and fight against Jerusalem, and to cause confusion among us. But we made our prayer to our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. Judah said, The strength of the bearers of burdens is fading, and there is much trouble, so that we are not able to build the wall. Our adversaries said, They will not know or see until we come in among them and kill them, and cause the work to cease. When the Jews who lived by them came, they said to us 10 times from all places, Wherever you turn, they will attack us. Therefore I set guards in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall, in the open places. I set the people by family groups with their swords, their spears, and their bows. I looked and rose up and said to the nobles, to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. When our enemies heard that it was known to us, and God had brought their counsel to nothing, all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. From that time forth, half of my servants did the work, and half of them held the spears, the shields, the bows, and the coats of mail, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. Those who built the wall, and those who bore burdens loaded themselves. Everyone with one of his hands did the work, and with the other held his weapon. Among the builders, everyone wore his sword at his side, and so built. He who sounded the trumpet was by me. I said to the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, The work is great and widely spread out, and we are separated on the wall, far from one another. Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally there to us. Our God will fight for us. So we did the work. Half of the people held the spears from the rising of the morning until the stars appeared. Likewise at the same time I said to the people, Let everyone with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us, and may labor in the day. So neither I, nor my brothers, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard who followed me took off our clothes. Everyone took his weapon to the water. Chapter 5. Then there arose a great cry of the people and of their wives against their brothers the Jews. For there were some who said, We, our sons and our daughters, are many. Let us get grain, that we may eat it alive. There were also some who said, We are mortgaging our fields, our vineyards, and our houses. Let us get grain, because of the famine. There were also some who said, We have borrowed money for the king's tribute, using our fields and our vineyards as collateral. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brothers, our children as their children. Behold, we bring our sons and our daughters into bondage to be servants, and some of our daughters have been brought into bondage. It is also not in our power to help it, because other men have our fields and our vineyards. I was very angry when I heard their cry and these words. Then I consulted with myself, and contended with the nobles and the rulers, and said to them, You exact usury, every one of his brother. I held a great assembly against them. I said to them, We, after our ability, have redeemed our brothers the Jews that were sold to the nations. And would you even sell your brothers? And should they be sold to us? Then they held their peace, and found not a word to say. Also I said, The thing that you do is not good. Shouldn't you walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? I likewise, my brothers and my servants, lend them money and grain. Please let us stop this usury. Please restore to them, even today, their fields, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses, also the 100th part of the money, and of the grain, the new wine, and the oil that you are charging them. Then they said, We will restore them, and will require nothing of them. We will do so, even as you say. Then I called the priests, and took an oath of them, that they would do according to this promise. Also I shook out my lap, and said, So may God shake out every man from his house, and from his labor, that doesn't perform this promise, even may he be shaken out and emptied like this. All the assembly said, Amen, and praised Yahweh. The people did according to this promise. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year even to the 32nd year of Artaxerxes the king, that is, 12 years, I and my brothers have not eaten the bread of the governor. That the former governors who were before me were supported by the people, and took bread and wine from them, plus 40 shekels of silver. Yes, even their servants ruled over the people. But I didn't do so, because of the fear of God. Yes, I also continued in the work of this wall. We didn't buy any land. All my servants were gathered there to the work. Moreover, there were at my table of the Jews and the rulers 150 men, in addition to those who came to us from among the nations that were around us. Now that which was prepared for one day was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowls were prepared for me, and once in 10 days a store of all sorts of wine. Yet for all this I didn't demand the governor's pay, because the bondage was heavy on this people. Remember me, my God, for all the good that I have done for this people. Nehemiah. Now when it was reported to Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arabian, and to the rest of our enemies that I had built the wall, and that there was no breach left in it, Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come, let's meet together in the villages in the plain of Ono. But they intended to harm me. I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I can't come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? They sent to me 4 times like this, and I answered them the same way. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me the same way the 5th time with an open letter in his hand, in which was written, It is reported among the nations, and Gashmu says it, that you and the Jews intend to rebel. Because of that, you are building the wall. You will be their king according to these words. You have also appointed prophets to proclaim of you at Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. Now it will be reported to the king according to these words. Come now therefore, and let's take counsel together. Then I sent to him, saying, There are no such things done as you say, but you imagine them out of your own heart. For they all would have made us afraid, saying, Their hands would be weakened from the work that had not been done. But now strengthen my hands. I went to the house of Shemaiah the son of Deliah the son of Mehetabel, who was shut in his home, and he said, Let us meet together in God's house within the temple, and let's shut the doors of the temple, for they will come to kill you. Yes, in the night they will come to kill you. I said, Should a man like me flee? Who is there that, being such as I, would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. I discerned, and behold, God had not sent him, but he pronounced this prophecy against me. Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. He was hired so that I would be afraid, do so, and sin, and that they might have material for an evil report, that they might reproach me. Remember, my God, Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and also the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. So the wall was finished in the 25th day of Elul, in 52 days. When all our enemies heard of it, all the nations that were around us were afraid, and they lost their confidence, for they perceived that this work was done by our God. Moreover, in those days the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and Tobiah's letters came to them. For there were many in Judah sworn to him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah the son of Er, and his son Jehohanan had taken the daughter of Meshullam the son of Berechiah as wife. Also they spoke of his good deeds before me, and reported my words to him. Tobiah sent letters to put me in fear. Nehemiah chapter 7. Now when the wall was built, and I had set up the doors, and the gatekeepers and the singers and the Levites were appointed, I put my brother Hanani and Hananiah the governor of the fortress in charge of Jerusalem, for he was a faithful man and feared God above many. I said to them, Don't let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot, and while they stand guard, let them shut the doors, and you bar them, and appoint watches of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, everyone in his watch, with everyone near his house. Now the city was wide and large, but the people were few therein, and the houses were not built. My God put into my heart to gather together the nobles, and the rulers, and the people, that they might be listed by genealogy. I found the book of the genealogy of those who came up at the first, and I found this written in it. These are the children of the province who went up out of the captivity of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away, and who returned to Jerusalem and to Judah, everyone to his city, who came with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Nahamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Misperth, Bigvai, Nehem, and Bana, the number of the men of the people of Israel. The children of Parash, 2,172. The children of Shaphatia, 372. The children of Er, 652. The children of Pahath Moab, of the children of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. The children of Elam, 1,254. The children of Zadu, 845. The children of Zakkai, 760. The children of Binui, 648. The children of Babai, 628. The children of Azgad, 2,322. The children of Adonikam, 667. The children of Bigvai, 2,067. The children of Adin, 655. The children of Ader of Hezekiah, 98. The children of Hashem, 328. The children of Bezai, 324. The children of Hariph, 112. The children of Jaban, 95. The men of Bethlehem and Netopher, 188. The men of Anathoth, 128. The men of Beth Azmavet, 42. The men of Kiriath Jearim, Chephar, and Beeroth, 743. The men of Ramah and Jebah, 621. The men of Michmas, 122. The men of Bethel and Ai, 123. The men of the other Nebo, 52. The children of the other Elam, 1,254. The children of Haram, 320. The children of Jericho, 345. The children of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. The children of Senah, 3,930. The priests, the children of Jediah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The children of Immer, 1,052. The children of Pashur, 1,247. The children of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, the children of Jeshua, of Kadmiel, of the children of Hodba, 74. The singers, the children of Asaph, 148. The gatekeepers, the children of Shallum, the children of Ader, the children of Talmon, the children of Akab, the children of Hatida, the children of Shobai, 138. The temple servants, the children of Ziha, the children of Hasapha, the children of Tabeath, the children of Kiros, the children of Sheh, the children of Padan, the children of Labana, the children of Hagaba, the children of Salmai, the children of Hanan, the children of Giddo, the children of Gahar, the children of Reiah, the children of Rezin, the children of Nekoda, the children of Gazam, the children of Uzzah, the children of Pesah, the children of Besai, the children of Munan, the children of Nephishesem, the children of Bakbuk, the children of Hakapha, the children of Harhar, the children of Bazlith, the children of Mehida, the children of Harsha, the children of Barkos, the children of Sisera, the children of Tema, the children of Neziah, and the children of Hadapha, the children of Solomon's servants, the children of Sadai, the children of Sophoreth, the children of Perida, the children of Jala, the children of Darkan, the children of Giddel, the children of Shephasha, the children of Hadel, the children of Patrath Hazabaim, and the children of Ammon. All the temple servants and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. These were those who went up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adan, and Immer, but they could not show their fathers' houses, nor their offspring, whether they were of Israel. The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 642. Of the priests, the children of Hobiah, the children of Hakaz, the children of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called after their name. These searched for their genealogical records, but couldn't find them. Therefore they were deemed disqualified and removed from the priesthood. The governor told them not to eat of the most holy things until the priests stood up to minister with Urim and Thummim. The whole assembly together was 42,360, in addition to their male servants and their female servants, of whom there were 7,337. They had 245 Sinim men and Sinim women. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, their donkeys 6,720. Some from among the heads of fathers' households gave to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 darits of gold, 50 basins, and 530 priests' garments. Some of the heads of fathers' households gave into the treasury of the work 20,000 darits of gold, and 2,200 minas of silver, at which the rest of the people gave was 20,000 darits of gold, plus 2,000 minas of silver, and 67 priests' garments. So the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, some of the people, the temple servants, and all Israel lived in their cities. When the 7th month had come, the children of Israel were in their cities. Chapter 8. All the people gathered themselves together as one man into the wide place that was in front of the water gate. And they spoke to Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which Yahweh had commanded to Israel. Ezra the priest brought the law before the assembly, both men and women, and all who could hear with understanding, on the first day of the 7th month. He read from it before the wide place that was in front of the water gate from early morning until midday, in the presence of the men and the women, and of those who could understand. The ears of all the people were attentive to the book of the law. Ezra the scribe stood on a pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose, and beside him stood Mattathiah, Shema, Anaiah, Uriah, Hilkiah, and Maaseiah on his right hand, and on his left hand, Pedaiah, Mishael, Malchijah, Hashem, Hashbaddanah, Zechariah, and Meshullam. Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, and when he opened it, all the people stood up. Then Ezra blessed Yahweh, the great God. All the people answered, Amen, Amen, with the lifting up of their hands. They bowed their heads and worshipped Yahweh with their faces to the ground. Also Jeshua, Bani, Sherebiah, Jamin, Akab, Shabbatai, Hodiah, Maaseiah, Kelida, Azariah, Jozabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law, and the people stayed in their place. They read in the book and the law of God distinctly, and they gave the sense so that they understood the reading. Nehemiah, who was the governor, Ezra the priest and scribe, and the Levites who taught the people said to all the people, Today is holy to Yahweh your God. Don't mourn nor weep, for all the people wept when they heard the words of the law. Then he said to them, Go your way. Eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions to him for whom nothing is prepared, for today is holy to our Lord. Don't be grieved, for the joy of Yahweh is your strength. So the Levites calmed all the people, saying, Hold your peace, for the day is holy. Don't be grieved. All the people went their way to eat, to drink, to send portions, and to celebrate, because they had understood the words that were declared to them. On the second day, the heads of fathers' households of all the people, the priests and the Levites, were gathered together to Ezra the scribe, to study the words of the law. They found written in the law how Yahweh had commanded by Moses that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month, and that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go out to the mountain, and get olive branches, branches of wild olive, myrtle branches, palm branches, and branches of thick trees, to make temporary shelters, as it is written. So the people went out and brought them, and made themselves temporary shelters, every one on the roof of his house, in their courts, in the courts of God's house, in the wide place of the water gate, and in the wide place of Ephraim's gate. All the assembly of those who had come back out of the captivity made temporary shelters and lived in the temporary shelters. For since the days of Joshua the son of Nun to that day, the children of Israel had not done so. There was very great gladness. Also day by day, from the first day to the last day, he read in the book of the law of God. They kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day was a solemn assembly, according to the ordinance. Chapter 9. Now in the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting, with sackcloth, and dirt on them. The offspring of Israel separated themselves from all foreigners, and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. They stood up in their place, and read in the book of the law of Yahweh their God a 4th part of the day. And a 4th part they confessed and worshipped Yahweh their God. Then Jeshua, Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Bani, Sherebiah, Bani, and Chenani of the Levites stood up on the stairs, and cried with a loud voice to Yahweh their God. Then the Levites, Jeshua, and Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabneiah, Sherebiah, Hodiah, Shebaniah, and Pethahiah, said, Stand up and bless Yahweh your God from everlasting to everlasting. Blessed be your glorious name, which is exalted above all blessing and praise. You are Yahweh, even you alone. You have made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their army, the earth and all things that are on it, the seas and all that is in them, and you preserve them all. The army of heaven worships you. You are Yahweh, the God who chose Abram, brought him out of Ur of the Chaldees, gave him the name of Abraham, found his heart faithful before you, and made a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, and the Girgashite, to give it to his offspring, and have performed your words, for you are righteous. You saw the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and heard their cry by the Red Sea, and showed signs and wonders against Pharaoh, against all his servants, and against all the people of his land, for you knew that they dealt proudly against them, and made a name for yourself, as it is today. You divided the sea before them, so that they went through the middle of the sea on the dry land, and you cast their pursuers into the depths, as a stone into the mighty waters. Moreover, in a pillar of clouds you led them by day, and in a pillar of fire by night, to give them light in the way in which they should go. You also came down on Mount Sinai, and spoke with them from heaven, and gave them right ordinances and true laws, good statutes and commandments, and made known to them your holy Sabbath, and commanded them commandments, statutes, and a law by Moses your servant, and gave them bread from the sky for their hunger, and brought water out of the rock for them for their thirst, and commanded them that they should go and to possess the land which you had sworn to give them. But they and our fathers behaved proudly, hardened their neck, didn't listen to your commandments, and refused to obey. They weren't mindful of your wonders that you did among them, but hardened their neck, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. That you are a God ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and abundant in loving kindness, and didn't forsake them. Yes, when they had made themselves a molded calf, and said, This is your God who brought you up out of Egypt, and had committed awful blasphemies, yet you in your manifold mercies didn't forsake them in the wilderness. The pillar of cloud didn't depart from over them by day, to lead them in the way, neither did the pillar of fire by night, to show them light, and the way in which they should go. You gave also your good spirit to instruct them, and didn't withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water for their thirst. Yes, 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness. They lacked nothing. Their clothes didn't grow old, and their feet didn't swell. Moreover, you gave them kingdoms and peoples, which you allotted according to their portions. So they possessed the land of Sihon, even the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og king of Bashan. You also multiplied their children as the stars of the sky, and brought them into the land concerning which you said to their fathers that they should go and to possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and you subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gave them into their hands, with their kings and the peoples of the land, that they might do with them as they pleased, They took fortified cities and a rich land, and possessed houses full of all good things, cisterns dug out, vineyards, olive groves, and fruit trees in abundance. So they ate, were filled, became fat, and delighted themselves in your great goodness. Nevertheless they were disobedient and rebelled against you, cast your law behind their back, killed your prophets that testified against them to turn them again to you, and they committed awful blasphemies. Therefore you delivered them into the hand of their adversaries, who distressed them. In the time of their trouble, when they cried to you, you heard from heaven, and according to your manifold mercies you gave them saviors, who saved them out of the hands of their adversaries. That after they had rest, they did evil again before you. Therefore you left them in the hands of their enemies, so that they had the dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried to you, you heard from heaven. And many times you delivered them according to your mercies, and testified against them, that you might bring them again to your law. Yet they were arrogant, and didn't listen to your commandments, but sinned against your ordinances, turned their backs, stiffened their neck, and would not hear. Yet many years you put up with them, and testified against them by your Spirit through your prophets. Yet they would not listen. Therefore you gave them into the hand of the peoples of the lands. Nevertheless in your manifold mercies you didn't make a full end of them, nor forsake them, for you are a gracious and merciful God. Now therefore our God, the great, the mighty, and the awesome God, who keeps covenant and loving kindness, don't let all the travail seem little before you that has come on us, on our kings, on our princes, on our priests, on our prophets, on our fathers, and on all your people, since the time of the kings of Assyria to this day. However, you are just in all that has come on us, for you have dealt truly, but we have done wickedly. Also our kings, our princes, our priests, and our fathers have not kept your law, nor listened to your commandments and your testimonies with which you testified against them. For they have not served you in their kingdom, and in your great goodness that you gave them, and in the large and rich land which you gave before them. They didn't turn from their wicked works. Behold, we are servants today, and as for the land that you gave to our fathers to eat its fruit and its good, behold, we are servants in it. It yields much increase to the kings whom you have set over us because of our sins. Also they have power over our bodies and over our livestock at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. Yet for all this we make a sure covenant and write it, and our princes, our Levites, and our priests seal it. Chapter 10. Now those who sealed were Nehemiah the governor, the son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah, Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malchijah, Haddash, Shebaniah, Malach, Haran, Merimoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Jonathan, Baruch, Meshullam, Abijah, Mijamin, Mosiah, Bilgai, and Shemaiah. These were the priests. The Levites, Jeshua the son of Azaniah, Benri of the sons of Henadad, Kadmiel, and their brothers, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Kelida, Peliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zachar, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Bani, and Beninu. The chiefs of the people, Parash, Pahath-Moab, Elam, Zadu, Bani, Bunni, Azgad, Babai, Hadonijah, Bigvai, Adon, Ader, Hezekiah, Azor, Hodiah, Hashem, Bezai, Harith, Anatoth, Nobai, Magpiash, Meshullam, Hezir, Meshezabel, Zadok, Jadua, Elisha, Hanan, Anaiah, Hashiel, Hananiah, Hasub, Halohesh, Pilha, Shobek, Erham, Hashabneth, Mosiah, Hiath, Hanan, Anan, Malach, Harim, and Bana. The rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, the temple servants, and all those who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands to the law of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone who had knowledge and understanding, joined with their brothers, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath, to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses the servant of God, and to observe and do all the commandments of Yahweh our Lord, and his ordinances and his statutes, and that we would not give our daughters to the peoples of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. And if the peoples of the land bring wares or any grain on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy from them on the Sabbath or on a holy day, and that we would forego the seventh-year crops and the exaction of every debt. Also we made ordinances for ourselves, to charge ourselves yearly with the third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread, for the continual meal offering, for the continual burnt offering, for the Sabbaths, for the new moons, for the set feasts, for the holy things, for the sin offerings to make atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our God. We, the priests, the Levites, and the people, cast lots for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our God, according to our fathers' houses, at times appointed year by year, to burn on Yahweh our God's altar, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our ground, and the first fruits of all fruit of all kinds of trees, year by year, to Yahweh's house. Also the firstborn of our sons and of our livestock, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God, to the priests who minister in the house of our God, and that we should bring the first fruits of our dough, our wave offerings, the fruit of all kinds of trees, and the new wine and the oil, to the priests, to the rooms of the house of our God, and the tithes of our ground to the Levites, for they, the Levites, take the tithes in all our farming villages. The priest, the descendant of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites take tithes. The Levites shall bring up the tithe of the tithes to the house of our God, to the rooms, and to the treasure house. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the wave offering of the grain, of the new wine, and of the oil, to the rooms where the vessels of the sanctuary are, and the priests who minister, with the gatekeepers and the singers. We will not forsake the house of our God.